What's up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of Competitive Edge Podcast. So today, my guest doesn't need an introduction, but I was a guest on his show, the real Brad Lea. You guys probably know him from social media. You've seen him speak. He's got Lightspeed VT. You've probably seen some of the courses that some of your favorite people on social media have actually produced in his own studio. Today, we're going to talk about somebody that's already built a personal brand and how AI is influencing that today. So if you don't have a brand today, you need to listen to this. I'm just going to tell you straight up, you're going to need to plug into this. If you think you have a brand today, are you getting paid for that? Are people reaching out to you to where you can leverage that brand in other spaces so you're irreplaceable as this future of AI goes? We're going to talk about sales because Brad is one of the people I have turned to for many years to learn how do we sell in this new modern world? How do you position yourself so that you can make more money, serve more people? And then we're going to have to get into this book right here. So lessons that I've read that Brad wrote this book many years ago, some lessons you're probably going to want for your life. So without further ado, Brad, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be on the other side of this time. Last time I was on your show, which, by the way, thank you, because that reached a broad audience. And what's cool about that is how you used your platform, and you've done that with many other people with your show. You've gotten people on a stage to share their story. So give me a little background on that. As you've done the podcast for many, many years, like why do you still even do it? Because people know who you are.
Well, number one, it generates about 6 million a year. Number two, it does what it was supposed to do, which is get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it, which is technically my mission. Like my company's mission at Lightspeed is to do that based on my mission. People always wonder, like, why is that your mission? Well, I believe after years of therapy, no, just joking. But I believe it's because I watched my dad work his ass off his entire life and die with no money. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because he didn't do the work. It wasn't because he wasn't willing to do it. He was willing to do pretty much harder work than most people are.
Yeah.
And he did it consistently for years, and he just died broke. So it's because he didn't have the right information. And there's all these people out in the world with information. Like, what if we could get it to the people who needed it? So I thought, man, let's do that. So the technology at Lightspeed is designed for that. The podcast was designed for that. And that's why I really do it. But the fact that it generates money also,
yeah,
which coincidentally, that's how it works.
That's right.
Solve people's problems and make a lot of money.
Yeah. Money changes hands. People start to solve problems. They start to help. So I love the fact the podcast has gone on, and I was a guest on there, and I will share this, and I'd love your insights as from that, then leveraging it. You know, people go on shows all the time, and for people that maybe they have their own podcast or they're a guest, how can people leverage that beyond just the show? Because your show seems to reach people infinitely. I still have people reach out to me, hey man, caught that show with Brad. How can people leverage that?
Well, first of all, if I recall, you were on like forever ago.
Yeah, it's almost after COVID. Yeah, it could be 4 years.
Yeah, so what's crazy is the podcast continues to get downloads. So you're getting people that are reaching out still from 4 years ago because people are still catching that episode. So with podcasting, the episode is evergreen. It stays around forever. And the more popular you get, the more traffic even the old episodes will get.
Yeah.
So unlike advertising in a magazine where magazines are thrown away and, podcast is like a magazine that never goes away.
Yeah.
I think it's the new billboard. It's an unbelievable way to get your name, brand, and product out into the world. So I would, number one, start a podcast if I were you. Not you. Yeah. I know you have one.
Yeah.
I'm on it. But people listening. Oh, everyone's got one. It's too late. No, it isn't too late. They told me that when I started it, by the way.
Same.
Everyone's got one. Why do you want to do one of those? I said, dude, I got all these people coming in to film their courses, man. I'm just going to get a couple microphones and pick their brain while they're here.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. And the goal wasn't to monetize it. And the goal wasn't to build a big platform. The goal was to get the knowledge from the people in my studio to the people that might be listening. Sure enough, people started listening. You're adding value. You're providing solutions. People start tapping in. And, I like to think I make it entertaining, even though some people say I just interrupt the whole time. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a conversation, not an interview.
Yeah.
An interview is like, I'm going to interview you. So tell me, why'd you start your business? And now your answers what's important because that's all they need to hear. But a conversation might be like, how'd you start your business? And then you start talking and I go, well, why'd you do that? And then everyone's like, shut up, dude, quit interrupting him. It's like, this is a conversation.
That's right.
So I have like super fans that like that because it's real.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my brand. I like to just keep it real. But podcast is the new billboard. Like if I were a company just starting out, I would be paying if I had to get on podcasts.
Yeah. I think about the ones I listen to every week and then how that then cross-pollinates audiences. And like, you have a guest on there I've never seen, never heard of, and immediately they become in my circle and then I can share what they have. So you've had some guests this year. Has anybody stood out to you that you think we need to know that our listeners might need to know?
All of them or they wouldn't be on.
I know. So let's pick one that Brad enjoyed, that you go, man, this was one that maybe surprised you.
John Dorenbos from the Eagles.
Yeah.
He was awesome. I liked his content a lot. But I mean, literally, I just had Tony Hawk. I just had Roy Jones Jr.
Saw that.
I just had, I like them all because I get to learn and, you know, basically build a relationship. But, you know, there's like 900. And I don't know who my favorite is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, one of my favorites was my handyman at the office.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because that's what you shouldn't do. You know, sometimes it's great to figure out what to do, but sometimes it's more valuable to figure out what not to do.
Yeah.
And that whole episode was about what not to do.
Wow. I love it. Well, years ago, you spoke at an event, our friend Renee Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. You came out, turned the chair backwards. I remember this whole setup. And you were talking about brand then. And here we are. It's 3 years or so later. Before we went live, we're talking about brand again. What has changed in your mind about building a brand, and should people know in 2025 about building their brand?
Well, number one, how important it is to do, how much business it actually creates, and ultimately, you know, how valuable it is. Like, I didn't realize it at the time. Like, it's valuable.
What do you mean by that? 'Cause people say that, like monetizing, valuable. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, again, I mean, like I can launch products.
Okay.
You know, I started a company that instantly became a 7-figure and quickly 8-figure company with my brand. And I think everyone has a brand. The question is does anyone know about it? So you have a brand, that's your reputation. So at the end of the day, everyone has a brand. The question is it known? So I don't teach people how to build a brand because like that's just a buzzword in my mind.
Yeah.
I teach people how to get known. And then your brand obviously becomes the value.
What's there?
Well, it's the promise. It's the reputation. It's what can people expect? What can they trust from you?
Yeah.
So people can trust that I'm bringing in them what I consider to be value, even if they don't.
That's right.
But I think people know that they can trust me. And even if the guest on my podcast, for example, has no relevance to them, they listen anyway. Why? Because they trust that, you know, there's going to be some value in there.
That's right.
So I think it's important to build also because with AI nowadays, information's very easy to get. So prior to this, a lot of people would look at, you know, a brand like Tony Robbins or, you know, anybody that's famous for their knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, dude, ChatGPT has all of Tony's knowledge and everybody else's. So you could literally compile Tony and all your favorite gurus, and literally that ChatGPT session would be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of consulting. The other day I was talking about selling Lightspeed and I'm like, dude, I wonder what it'd be worth. Boom, ChatGPT. I prompted it. Prompting is the key. Told him that it's a expert at businesses and scaling and evaluation. I put like a 20-minute prompt in there. I uploaded my financials for the last 2 years, who my top clients were, what percentage they, you know, all the things that P&E want.
Oh yeah.
And, it spit out at least a $50,000 worth of consultation.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I just kept, you know, absolutely. Because it'll say at the end, you know, would you like me to make a PowerPoint? Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like a list of potential buyers? Yes. You know, it just keeps going. So the information's there.
Yeah.
But the brand is why people will believe it or want it.
Yeah.
You know
I think about how many people do the same thing we do, especially at mortgage and all. I did a post today. I'd love your thoughts on this. Is talking about, it used to be who you know, like who was in your Rolodex, who's in your phone and all that. And now, like, who really knows you in the time of a referral or to think about you? Do they know you?
Yeah.
To your point, would they trust you? Does that resonate? Is that,
well, trust is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing you isn't as important. Trusting you in a positive way, because I can trust you're going to screw it up, or I can trust you're going to screw him over, right? Oh, don't talk to Brian, dude. He'll screw you. I trust that.
Yeah.
So trust in a positive way.
Yeah.
Is what I mean. But trust is most important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whether people like you per se, because I might like you, but I don't trust you.
Yeah.
So like you call me up and you need something, but I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I need to stay at your house. I don't trust you. I'm not letting you stay there, even if I like you.
Yeah.
When it comes to sales, trust is the number one, I believe, thing you're trying to build quickly.
So how do people do that?
Build trust.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, again, it's easy to say, harder to do. Be real. You know what I mean? But I think it's all about your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we're all operating in a frequency.
That's right.
And some people's frequency is, different than others. That's why you can sit in a elevator and you feel kind of awkward because like someone's energy isn't right.
Yeah, it's off.
And you get like weird feelings. Yeah. Well, that's energy.
Yeah.
So to build trust, I think if you have a honest, ethical energy, it goes, again, well, how do you build that? You keep promises to yourself and others. You freaking operate with ethics and integrity. I think the old sales game is changing to where it's not about, coming up with some slick line.
Yeah.
It's, walking in with the right energy, believing in your product, obviously, and changing from a salesperson to a help person. Like, I just want to help people. I'm not really selling anybody anything. I'm helping people with my products and services. And when you meet me, it's easier to trust me because, again, that certainty and that energy and that confidence comes out. I'm not trying to close you. If I can't help you, man, I don't want to take your money just to take your money.
Yeah.
So energy, empathy, and quite frankly, competence. A lot of salespeople are incompetent and they don't build trust because of it.
Yeah. I struggle with it.
Also personal image, personal image, man.
It matters.
How can I trust you if you can't even freaking figure out yourself, man? Like, you're trying to get a job at my company and you can't even freaking lead yourself and you're applying for a leadership position.
Hey guys, it's Brian here. I hope you are enjoying the show. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur looking to grow your personal brand, make a bigger impact, maybe increase your leads and grow your revenue, let's help you get started today by connecting up with my friends over at the Brand Builders Group. You've heard me talk about them, but if you're new here, this is definitely the first step to get you started in turning your reputation into revenue. Head over to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey. Again, to set up your free brand call, go to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey to set up a free strategy call with one of the team at Brand Builders, and they will dive into your specific goals for how you want to grow your personal brand. I can't wait to hear how it goes. We had a guy walk up to me at a conference recently, and just the way they were dressed, it was you hate to think that way, but it's reality of like the way that everything fit and just the way they presented. It's like they just look disheveled. Like, and I think about, well, how would they handle any referrals I sent? Is that how their business probably? I just imagine their desk being like complete chaos.
Yeah,
because the way that they kind of came in with that energy, but also their appearance. And so when you said that, I immediately thought of this person of, hey man, I don't know.
Yeah, personal image is huge, and it boils down to the relationship you have with yourself. So you can trust me because I trust me. Yeah, you keep promises to yourself. 100%. Yeah. Not only that, but like, I operate in certainty. Like, I'm not worried. I'm not walking around with fear and doubt and anxiety and, and what's crazy is, dude, it's all a choice. It boils down to a choice.
Yeah.
People don't realize that free will, which is a gift that we received at birth, really, is the key. Everybody thinks, you got to tap into your power. Everyone's got this power. You have to find your power. And people don't realize the power is the power of free will, the power of choice.
Yeah.
I can get up in the morning and I can work out, or I can get up in the morning and I can eat Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
That's a choice. And again, if I continue to wake up and work out with consistency, people call that discipline. What's going to happen? Well, I'm going to constantly build this trust in myself, this consistency, and that translates into the energy. Yeah. So people choose their energy. You can look at your phone and get an email that's, I guess, arguably considered bad news, and you can choose to respond negatively, or you can choose to respond positively.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So if you have the power of choice, why are you making such poor choices every day? And people make poor choices all the time. Yeah. I'm gonna call it a day. Today's not going very well. I'm gonna knock off early and just start again tomorrow.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, why didn't they just have a different perspective and keep going and make an adjustment and look at it on the bright side?
Yeah.
You know what? I've had a bad day so far, and that's been my fault, which is personal ownership. Right. Because if you have a bad day, it literally is your fault.
Yeah, there's some accountability there.
Well, dude, I can't make you think a certain way, right?
Nope.
So I walk in and say something rude and I walk out, and then literally that ruins your day. Well, I didn't ruin your day, bro. Even though I may have done something that a whole jury would say was messed up.
Yeah.
You chose to react and respond and change the way you did. You chose to make it a bad experience. And people are like, dude, that if someone comes in and does something, I can't help that. No, but you can help how you react to it.
That's
and
right.
That literally is the choice.
Yeah.
So I choose to be grateful, and I choose to be positive, and I choose to have a different perspective than most people.
Which I love. And I think that attracts other people that think that way.
Well, you know why?
The energy.
That's right.
That's right.
Because what you emit is what you get.
Yeah.
So again, if I use the gift I was given of free will and I choose to be angry, coincidentally, that anger, that negative energy will cause more things to be angry about.
That's right.
It's almost like God says, dude, I love you so much. I'm going to give you the ability to choose, and I'm not going to interfere at all. You choose whatever you want. And whatever you choose, I'll figure out how to make sure you get more of it. So like, dude, I'm going to give you abundance, whether it's negative abundance or positive abundance, but I'm giving you more of what you choose, because that's how much I love you. So if you choose to be depressed, let me give you some shit to be depressed about. You know, if you choose to be positive, well then, man, I'm going to figure out how to make it more positive. And then you start to realize, well, wait a minute, that was just me choosing positive. Exactly. Now we're getting somewhere.
That's right. Now we start moving that way.
Yeah.
How can people change their circles? Because I know we've talked about this before, but people are in that circle today and they realize like, oh, okay, Brad, I hear you. I'm around some negative people. I'm allowing myself to be this way. Changing that proximity changed my life.
Yeah,
I know
same
getting around.
answer.
Yeah.
Choice.
Choose to get around different groups. Choose to go somewhere else.
Or choose to stop. You know, it's all choice. That's why it's crazy when people really break it down. It's like, you mean I can just choose? Yeah, that's how easy
simple.
it gets. You just choose it. Well, that's not very easy. I didn't say it was easy. I just said it's the answer. It's choice, you know. Some people probably need to go home and blow out their spouse right now. Why? Because for years they've demonstrated that they're not a good fit. But you know, we've been taught, you know, stick it out, you know, be kind, this and that, and we confuse it with you know, good choices. A good choice would be if you have a spouse that you know beats your ass every day, get out of that relationship. Yeah. There's women and men, for that matter, being literally physically, emotionally abused every single day, and they will not get out of that relationship. When in reality, everybody around them says, dude, why don't you just leave him?
Yeah. Why are you still there?
well, you don't understand. I love him and blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, you don't love yourself enough. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the choice is to stop tolerating what you're tolerating because you get what you tolerate. Mm-hmm. You've heard that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
I used to do an exercise with people. I'd say, I'll show you how to stop everything bad in your life. They're like, how? Say, get a piece of paper and I want you to write down everything that you don't like about your life and that you don't appreciate and that you want for it to be gone. And they would write down things. And then at the top, I'd just say, stop tolerating this.
Yeah.
And when you stop tolerating it, you'll stop getting it. And it's that easy. It's not, well, I should say it's that simple, but it's not easy. Why? Because we allow our emotions and our story
that's right.
to cause us to stay small, stay limited, and literally believe, because that's what it boils down to, our beliefs. Believe the bull.
Yeah. How did you get your beliefs to increase throughout your career? You keep going bigger. I watch. You're talking about even evaluation, with Lightspeed. And it's like, you're thinking big moves, big. I mean, these are things most people never even thought they would be in those spots. How did you get to each new level and raise the beliefs along the way?
Just doing the work and watching the evidence appear, So
the results helped.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like I used to think $1 million a year, as soon as I get there, dude, ooh, man, life's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Then I got there and I'm like, well, dude, this isn't as awesome as I thought, but now I believe I could probably do 2. And then I did 2 and I'm like, well, shit, I could probably do 3. And then I did 3, but you had asked me when I was doing 80, I never would have believed in 3.
Yeah. A long way off.
Yeah. And it just kept going. So it's like you move a little bit and then you start to see different evidence.
That's right.
And then that opens your mind where realistically, if you did just believe that from day one, which is hard to do, but it is the way it works, then you probably would have, blown past all of your limitations.
Yeah. Let's talk about some AI, because I think talk about that, belief systems. You're using AI in a lot of different ways. We were both talking about this. We use it every day now with chat or different AI programs now. It's like you're integrating that in right now. So for somebody, let's just say, let's start with the group that's not using it today. Like we know it's coming. You and I, we're on the same page with this is something moving fast. Somebody that's not using it, why should they be paying attention and why should they be getting into that AI world and understand basic things like chat?
Well, to me, it's like they use Google. Right? There's nobody not using Google. Well, it's just an instant Google search mixed with intelligent output. Yeah. So I don't even Google anymore.
Me either.
I just chat GPT it.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Excuse me. And by the way, there's different language models, and which one you use should be based on what are you trying to accomplish, because some are better than things than the others. So there's AI being built now that'll even select the language model based on what you're asking it. So if you want numbers, maybe Claude's a better language model. Chat GPT, it can come up with more creativity, but then you move it over here and they'll rewrite it more human-like for copy.
Yeah.
But I like to say AI was around before AI. It was called actual intelligence. And actual intelligence is what created artificial intelligence. So what do you think's more valuable, actual intelligence or artificial? Because again, I mean, to me, artificial intelligence did not create actual intelligence.
Right. Other way around.
It's the other way around. So guys, be smart, use your intelligence and leverage the tools that are at your disposal or you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I used to put in my email at the bottom, there's only going to be 2 kinds of companies left in the future. Those who create technology, because I was creating it, and those who use it. So you better do one of the 2.
Yeah.
You either create it or you use it. But if you don't, you're not going to be in business.
No, it's moving fast. What are the ways you're using it now for you?
Well, on a million levels, but with Lightspeed, which is a training technology, we've embedded AI customers so you can practice the stuff you're learning so you can, because training is really about good content with repetition, practice, and accountability.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but I have frog in my throat.
Got the cough.
See, that's not AI.
No.
That's
It's real.
yeah. But good content, repetition, practice, and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have those things, it's not training, it's exposure. It's exposure.
Yeah.
So most companies think they have a training system when in reality they've got an exposure system, and exposure isn't really effective. Otherwise, I'd be a black belt because I watch mixed martial arts almost every weekend.
Right.
Doesn't do anything for me. And golf. I watch golf. My game doesn't seem to improve, but if I go to the driving range and I practice, then I get better. So real training is those four things.
Mm-hmm.
So we've embedded AI so people can practice on AI customers instead of real ones, because real ones are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, when you spend $100,000 to get customers in the door and then you let your sales team practice on those, it costs you a lot of money.
That's right.
AI's cheap.
Yeah.
So let me program the AI to have the same objections and the same personality styles and the same frequently heard questions.
Yeah.
And then let them practice on those.
Yeah.
So practice, repetition, building out courseware, writing courseware, creating original graphics and images for your thumbnails and your course descriptions and your copy, your sales copy to sell it. So that's all AI driven now. So you can get a Lightspeed system and literally build a whole outline, create all the thumbnails, images, course descriptions, test questions, like instantly based on your expertise.
That's cool.
So I can feed in a video that I created and it will build a whole course around it. Testing, practice, role play, 2-day workbook, PowerPoint deck, and a mastermind based on it.
Yeah.
So that's like with Lightspeed. And then I use it for information. It's just for anyone that doesn't use it yet, imagine having all the world's experts right here in your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Medical experts, holistic, Eastern medicine, spiritual. Like start asking it questions about God and see what it comes up with.
Yeah.
I've done that, and by the way, it says, if you take all of the religions, the heck's going on here, Jim? If you take all the religions and feed it into ChatGPT and say, out of all of them, which one's most likely to be true? It's the Christianity. Based on Chat's research, which is really just instant.
That's right.
So again, imagine having all the data in the world. Will it take you 6 years to go through that information? Well, artificial intelligence just does it instantly.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. It's just an aggregator of content, and it can factor everything in it, where it would take you and your team 6 months to figure it out. It'll figure it out in 6 seconds. And that's all it is. It's very, very quick information and data sifting. And then it uses a little bit of intelligence to reason almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually reasoning, but
it's working with us on that.
You ever notice it's a little bit patronizing?
Sometimes if you get it, I had challenged mine the other day of like, give me things that I'm not thinking about. Challenge my thought process. Challenge this. Like if I'm trying to write a post or come up with an idea and frame it, like, don't tell me it's great. Like, tell me it's not great and how it can be better.
Yeah. And then it's still like, it's patronizing. It'll be like, excellent observation, man. How brilliant of you.
Yeah. That was so good of you.
But now that you ask, no, it's not that good. Here's your holes. Would you like me to fill those holes and make it even more impenetrable?
That's right.
Yes. I just get it going. And then I'm like, yes. Yeah. Next thing you know, I got $1 billion business plan, all the things I need to sell it, pitch it. It's
everything.
Crazy, dude. If you're not using ChatGPT, that is literally crazy.
Yeah. We'll get replaced by people that will.
And when I say ChatGPT, I mean artificial intelligence. I mean a language model. I don't care if it's Claude, you prefer some other one. Just use AI.
Yeah.
You can use AI to generate business, generate traffic, figure out systems and processes, document the systems and processes, improve the systems and processes. Imagine, feed into it. This is what we do. This is what we get. This is the complaints we get. How would we solve this? Enter. $50,000 business consultation for free.
Yep.
And then what do you do with it? Well, dude, ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It'll tell you what to do with it. It'll assist you.
Wow.
Every business should be using it.
So how do you see those blending together with people that are building their personal brand? You got all these resources now, so it almost has dummy proofed it, right? But we talked about this as you still have to stand out from a crowd in building your brand. Is there anything you're using Chat for or Cloud or any of those to go, hey, this is how I'm going to enhance my brand so I'm getting more exposure?
Well, I leverage it so thank you. I leverage it so I can get ideas.
Yeah.
But nothing will do the work for me.
No.
So again, people that are afraid to work, it's not going to solve that.
Yeah, it didn't do the work for you.
Yeah, I still do the same thing I've always done, which is get out there, meet people, expose myself, share myself. To build a popular brand is different than building a personal brand, meaning you have followers.
Yeah.
Because again, Charles Manson had followers.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd recommend.
No, I wouldn't go that way. And you've built out a very loyal followers. You're talking about the podcast and all the downloads, 900 plus episodes, all of that. And you're speaking too. And I know we got a lot of listeners. They want to speak. They want to do something. You're doing that more, but you didn't always do it. What have you learned in the speaking game and how that's helped you? Because I've seen it where it's positioned you differently.
It has.
In a good way. I believe so. It's elevated your brand, in my opinion. When I see somebody, I know the time and the effort and the work. And when you get up there and I can see these different versions of Brad where I've heard you speak here, but then I hear you somewhere else. To me, that's one of the number one greatest fears, public speaking. And you're doing it. So to me, it elevates someone's brand. It's perception.
Well, it could ruin it too.
Yeah, if you screw it up, it could. But as you said earlier, you're going to put the reps. I mean, you're doing the reps. You're going to practice. You're not just walking out there and hoping to wing it. Like, hey, what are we talking about? Who am I here?
Yeah. Before I would recommend people go, speak, like first do, because then you have something to speak about. A lot of people want to be famous, but they haven't done anything. Like, quit worrying about being famous and just go do something. And then everyone will want to know how you did it.
That's
and
right.
then you speak on it. And next thing you know, you're on the speaking circuit.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons where the main reason anyone gets me to speak is because of my brand. Like they see me on social media. People are like, oh, I like that guy. He's funny. Or, he says it like it is, because I do. And so they think it'll sell tickets or, satisfy an audience interest. So they hire me and I get $50,000 when I speak for an hour. It's like, to me, crazy because they used to tell me to shut up in school. Now they pay me to talk. And in reality, you'll never see me do the same speech twice because I don't speak. I just talk. And I share stories and observations and perspectives. And then audiences usually are like, man, I never really looked at it that way. And that's because I'm unafraid to speak.
Yeah.
Like I'm not afraid to get out on a stage. The bigger, the better, if you ask me. I believe it or not, get more anxious speaking to a small crowd than a big one.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Closer proximity.
I should ask ChatGPT.
Right. Hey, I'm having these feelings.
But I don't know why.
Yeah.
But when I walk out on stage and there's 10,000 people, it's almost like it's easier than if there's 10 people.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, people are afraid to speak more than dying. And it's like the reason I think that that's the case is because they have allodoxophobia.
What's that?
The fear of other people's opinion. And so they're worried about, I might look stupid.
Yeah.
They might not like me. And ultimately it's because they need everyone else's validation.
Yeah.
And they want to be liked and approved of. And so they're fearful of that not happening. So instead of me risking not being liked, I'm just not going to get out there. And I'm not going to get on that stage. Are you crazy? But I don't have that. I've solved it. because I validate myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's back to that, where most people aren't validated themselves, and they get out there and they're hoping for external validation from others, and it's like a chaotic bomb waiting to go off.
Yeah, or they haven't done anything, and they have imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to be out here?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said start with doing something first. Go do something, right? And then speak on it.
That's it.
Like, hey, Brad, how did you write your book? Well, here's what I did. And how can that be wrong? Now, if someone doesn't like it, I'm also logical. And I realize that you can't make everyone happy.
No.
And if you can't make everyone happy, well, then who do you choose? Well, I've just added my name to the options.
Yeah.
And every time I see my name, I'm like, I'll pick him.
Yeah,
I'm going to make him happy. Yeah. And if I can make him happy, which I can, because I know me.
That's right.
Then I don't really care, because I can't make everyone happy. So there's no other option really. If you use your brain, like, dude, I am the best option. I'm consistently able to make me happy.
Yeah.
And if I worry about your happiness, well, then I'm sacrificing mine. And that makes no sense to me. Like, why would I choose you over me?
Yeah.
You aren't with me 24 hours a day.
Right.
You don't know me. You aren't going to pay me. You aren't going to cause me to, survive. I am. So let me make me happy. I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
But if you're not, can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Move on down the road.
That's right.
And I've done it too. I've been on a stage where, like, I say what I say and I walk out and people are like, how'd you do? And I'm like, I don't know. Go ask the audience. I have no clue how I did. And I don't really care. Quite frankly, I think I left value out there, and I always do. That's one thing that I do is I try to leave value. It may not be for everybody, but I guarantee you there's value in what I just said.
Yeah.
To somebody.
That's right.
And it may not be in the audience. Depends on who's in the audience.
Yeah, that's true. I've been there. You do add value. And I think for people that are, especially entrepreneurs, and I know in the mortgage space, it's like they need that because they don't hear that in their own industry.
Yeah.
And so you bring an outside perspective, so.
I like to say the truth.
The truth.
I bring the truth.
And their manager or whoever doesn't always tell them
the truth. No.
And so it's good. They get it brought in.
Especially nowadays. Everybody's sugarcoating everything.
It is widespread.
Yeah. Well, I ain't Willy Wonka.
No. Why do you think that is for some of the managers and leaders out there that are falling in that trap? Why do you think they're?
Because they want to be liked.
It's back to that.
Yeah. Like, to me, dude, listen, the truth shall set you free. We've heard that. The truth is, I think, the best possible option.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like it, at least it's the truth and you can do something about it. But if you get sugar-coated and pacified and praised, you're not doing them a service
At all.
No. You need to tell them the truth, even if it hurts them. I mean, again, there's always scenarios. Like if my wife says, do I look fat in these jeans? I don't say yes. I say, no, you don't. You look beautiful, because I believe that.
Right.
But if I thought she looked fat in the jeans, guess what I'd say? I'd say, yeah, those aren't the best option. Try on another pair. Yeah. And if she got mad and someone said, that's rude. No, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't like it, how about she gets her fat ass in shape and then she doesn't have to worry about looking fat in her jeans? That's the truth, right? So again, someone, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Well, again, if everybody spoke the truth more often, there might be a couple of years of war and turmoil.
Yeah.
But at the end, we would all come out better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been there. It's one of those, like last year after leaving the Bahamas with our family, the pictures don't lie. I always say if your clothes are fitting tighter, and you see the pictures, like that's just feedback. And either you can decide to go do something, or you can say, things are just going to fit tighter and I'm going to be unhappy.
Yeah. Or own it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you go to those pools and you see the fat guy with a beer in his hand and his belly out, and he doesn't care. No one even notices.
Yeah.
But the fat guy in the shirt in the pool trying to act like he doesn't want a sunburn, when in reality he doesn't want you to see that he's fat, and you can see that he's fat. and he's all self-conscious about it, that's the one you notice.
And that's
what's up with that dude? Like, dude, just own that shit.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's okay to not be in perfect shape.
That's right.
Now, to me, I don't want to be fat. Why? Yeah. Only because, dude, health reasons, energy reasons.
Yeah.
I want to be somewhat in shape, but I don't care about six pack and aesthetics. I think health is more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's people that do not have a six pack that are healthier than someone who does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, sometimes people go too far and they're ripped aesthetically, but dude, inside where it counts, they are worse off than the dude that has a little fat roll.
Yeah.
So to me, it's about health. I don't worry about aesthetics too much. I'm married, number one. Number two, I just need to look in the mirror and like what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes I get a little soft and, eat the wrong things for a little while. And I'm like, dude, but, obviously I justified it somehow.
Yeah. Somewhere along the way.
You ever have a maple bar?
No. What are those?
A maple donut?
Oh, I like glazed donuts. That's maple donut, huh?
Yeah. And again.
Oh, okay.
Maple.
So it's like maple syrup.
It's a maple bar.
Oh.
It's like a maple frosting. You've never had a maple bar?
No. I want to check, Five Daughters here. A little plug for them,
No, they wouldn't have it. It's too sugary. You talking about the one at the factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, too sugary.
Too sugary, okay.
Yeah, just go to a regular donut place
like
and
Dunkin'.
say, give me a maple bar.
Okay.
And they'll give you a maple bar. And then get a nice cold milk.
Go with it. Okay.
Yeah, and then just take a bite. Heaven.
Oh, it's not my normal jam, but if I went off on it, so my sugar, I'm gonna spike, right? I'm gonna go crazy. It's that good.
You ever have a Five Guys and fries?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's some Five Guys. Yeah.
But to not have it is good for you,
mm-hmm.
right? It's good for your discipline. It's good for your grit. It's good for your belief system.
That's right.
So,
that's what I found.
dude, I avoid it and I neglect it and I make the choice not to eat it most of the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, you know what? The best choice right now is to have that donut. Yeah. And that's why I don't have like a raging six pack.
Yeah.
But I'm healthy. I take my blood work,
which is huge.
I have a 46 resting heart rate, which is like elite athlete level, they say.
Like triathlete over there.
Yeah. I don't know why. Thank God. But at the end of the day, I watch my blood work and my health more than I do my aesthetics.
Yeah.
But I think, again, I just use fitness because everyone can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's everybody in the world that if they wanted to and they chose to, and that's what it is. You got to choose it.
That's right.
You choose to get in shape, dude. I guarantee you there's people listening right now. I guarantee they can get in shape. Mm-hmm. They just don't want to deal with the freaking mental abuse of that.
Yeah.
And when you get into it, you start to realize it wasn't abuse at all. Matter of fact, I can't believe I spent this long the way I did.
Yeah.
Me included, obviously, because you can look at my social media and you'd be like, dude, he's getting a little fat. Oh, he's getting in shape. Oh, he's getting fat. Oh, he's getting in shape. Well, that's because, you do without for so long and then you justify, you change your perspective and start to think, you know what, it doesn't matter. I deserve. Next thing you know, you're out of shape. At the end of the day, why is that? Well, because, dude,
all up there.
People's thoughts change, choices change.
That's right.
If you could just I always say true champions, they decide once, I'm going to make a decision to work out. That's it. I work out. I decide once, not a million times. Mm-hmm. So get in the habit of deciding one time and you'll be better off.
Yeah, it goes. Well, in the book you talked about, we were talking about this earlier, was it chapter 16 on procrastination?
Yes.
Kind of fits into this. So let's talk about the book just for a minute.
Okay.
Because I want people to know about this because I like this book. I think it's real. I know you had some things you said about it, but that procrastination almost ties into everything we're talking about. Why do you think people procrastinate and don't move?
Well, I think a lot of reasons, but ultimately procrastination is really just fearing the supposed, consequences of taking the action. At the end of the day, I think people don't think they deserve, so they procrastinate. If I start to work out and I don't actually do it, I'm going to look stupid. So let me just not work out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which makes no sense.
Backwards.
Yeah. So procrastination, though, is, I think, the number one reason people don't get where they want to go. They procrastinate. They put it off. They put it off. They put it off.
Yeah.
Like I when I decided to stop procrastinating, I literally said, I'm going to stop procrastinating tomorrow. You gotta just like make a decision. I'm not procrastinating anymore. And then you get in the habit of not procrastinating, you know?
Yeah.
Procrastination kills more dreams than anything.
So
It's procrastination.
True. Yeah.
I don't know what the official definition is, but I bet it's no good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about the high performers I know. They are very decisive and move quick. And that procrastination, it just doesn't have, it's either a yes or a no. You decide pretty quick and move on.
Yeah. One time I was doing chat and I said, what would you do? I started this whole movement, by the way. If you see on social media, people saying, if you were the devil, I did it a while back and I put it out there and now I see it a lot. But I asked ChatGPT, hey, if you were the devil, how would you stop someone from being successful? And it said, number one, I would fill their mind with doubt and fear. Right. And I'm like, that's what's happening. You know, I would surround them with the wrong people. I would give them a victim mentality. I would make them comfortable so they don't actually do anything. I'd make them focus externally instead of internally where the actual answers are. I would give them poor habits, especially health. It just kept listing out the 10 reasons I asked for. And one of them was basically I would cause them to procrastinate because, you know, you have to take action. And even if you fail and even if it hurts and even if like, dude, you got to take action. That's the number one thing. People that are thinking about quitting their job. Well, I don't know, man. What if I don't make any money? And that's the fear. It's the doubt. So they procrastinate. And 8 years later, they're still working in the cubicle.
Same thing.
It's like, had they just quit and took the jump, they would have figured it out, but they don't believe that they would have. They're limited. They're self-doubt.
Yeah.
And so they don't. And that's why they died where they died, you know, because eventually we're all going to die. So if you ask me, man, I wouldn't procrastinate. I would just take action and learn from each action that you took. Yeah. I forget who said it, but it's called fail forward fast. You take a guy that doesn't want to make any mistakes, so he doesn't make any moves because he's trying to get prepared and do it right. And so he doesn't do anything. The other guy, he doesn't procrastinate. He just goes out, bang, 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 figures out what not to do. Yeah. And then bang, figures it out. This guy's still deciding and thinking and procrastinating and nothing happens. You have to take that action, and action outweighs everything.
Last question for you. You always talk about getting new information, getting the right information to the right people, right? From the people that have it to people that don't. What's something you've learned this year? Maybe changed a belief or some new information that's changed the way you approach your life?
It's hard to say because every day I'm getting new information. Wow. It's part of my daily habits.
Yeah, you're built that way.
Well, only because people have to realize, number one, the reason you choose, which is your power, the reason you choose what you choose and do what you do and make the decisions you make is based on your beliefs. And your belief system is why you are where you are. Yeah. So you have to change the belief system in order to change the behavior. So if you want to change what you're getting, you have to change what you're doing. And if you want to change what you're doing, you have to change what you believe. And there's only one way to do that. Get new information. So once I realized that, I'm like, dude, I'm going to get new information every single day. Yeah. So every day I'm getting new information. Like on the way here, I was getting new information. So when you say, what new information have you got? It's like, if I only did it once in a while, I could probably tell you that. But like every day I'm getting new information. Some of it is like you already knew, but you're being reminded or, you know, it's familiar information, but it's giving you now specifics. Yeah. But again, I mean, like to me, if somebody out there is not making, let's say more than $100,000 a year, which according to statistics, there's not a lot of them. It's like, what? $100,000 a year, dude. Anyone can do that. They're like, oh, Brad, that's easy for you to say. You're rich and good looking. And I say, I haven't always been rich. But in reality, it's the truth. The truth is you have to, number one, be in the position to receive commission. Period. Most people, they're in a salary, situation.
Yeah. That's all they got.
You're not going anywhere in that situation, but if I work hard, I'll get promoted to what? A higher salary. That's like saying, I want out of these handcuffs, but if I, just put on a looser set, I'll be better. No, you won't, dude. You need to get in the position to receive commission because commission allows you to be unlimited.
That's right.
So you have to get in the position to receive commission. Then you need to focus on your mindset, which is your belief system, your confidence, your energy, your mind. That's like the controller people don't get.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you ever play video games?
Yeah. My son plays all the time, so I'm kind of by.
Yeah. So if you go home to do this with your kid and watch what happens, go home and get him a big screen and give him surround sound and give him all the games and unlock all the levels and give him everything. And he'll walk in and he'll be like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. This is the heaven. And then just don't give him the controller and watch how fast all that shit means nothing.
That's right.
Well, that's your life if you don't have a controller. Well, the controller's the mind. Like people underestimate the value of having control of your mind. And again, it's a muscle. You got to study it. You got to learn it. You got to master it. And mastery creates law. Yeah. So habits create mastery. Mastery creates law, and law governs the outcome. Yeah. So you have to literally realize it's your mind. And a lot of people go, oh, that's that fluffy crap. That's not true. It's 100% true.
Agreed.
Then number two, your skills. Okay. What are you good at? You might be good at something, but it's the wrong thing. Like you can't get rich being good at, laying carpet. Now, again, someone says bullshit. You can get rich. There's a lot of wealthy people that own carpet companies. Yeah, but they're not laying carpet, dude.
Yeah.
If you're out there laying carpet, dude, you're not going to get rich that way. You might get rich building a business that lays carpet.
That's right.
But now you have to learn how to grow and scale a business, how to become a leader, how to build a team, how to scale. So the skills that you have, look at those. What are your skills? And then your habits, because you can have a mindset and run positively in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You can have a mindset and you're just average. You might not go anywhere even with a strong mind because you're not very good at something.
Yeah.
Well, to get good at something, you just practice, repeat, practice, repeat. You eventually get good at whatever you want to get good at. That's the key. Practice, repetition. So again, if you believe I can get good at anything if I wanted to, well, good. What is it you want to do? Well, I want to do this. Okay. Well, what does it require to do that? What are the people doing that at that level? What do they do every day?
Yeah.
Do those things. And then people go, well, I don't really want to do that. Well, again, skills. You can be really talented skill wise, but you have poor habits.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to happen either. That's so right. You need all three. The right mindset, the right skills, and then the right habits. And habits are the actions that you take every single day, whether you want to or not.
That's right.
And put those three together and you can dominate and crush anything that you want.
Yeah.
Mortgages, real estate, investing, whatever. How's the mortgage business right now?
I think it's going really well. We picked up last couple months.
Yeah.
So if you look at inventories up, rates are what they are going to be. But you look, people are finally realizing sellers and the pent up demand is grown. And so people go, you know what? I'm going to trade. And they're not holding on to the old rate. They're not holding on to the past. And they have so much equity. People that have owned homes the last 5 to 10 years.
Well, why don't they also just shift their perspective?
That's the thing that media, we battle. And those that are winning, I would say there's the haves and the have-nots. The top producers are doing more. The bottom producers are doing less. The market share is just moving.
Yeah. And again, I mean, just get creative and think, man. Use your brain. Take some time to actually think. Because when it comes to mortgages, someone asked me this the other day. Like, interest rates are high. Nobody wants a loan. Well, nobody wants a loan for a house, maybe. But like, if you can loan me money at 7% and I can pay off a loan at 18%, why wouldn't I want a 7% loan?
Yeah.
Well, interest rates are high compared to what?
Right.
Like, quit trying to find people that have 2% interest rates and start looking for people that have 18% interest rates.
Yeah.
Well, nobody has 18% interest rates on their home. Well, they got 18% interest rate on loans, credit cards, debt.
All that.
So what if I could get you a loan at 7% and you could wipe out all that debt you have at 18%? So maybe I'm not giving you a loan for a house. I'm giving you a loan to pay off all your credit card debt that you just stacked up. Yeah. Or maybe you took a loan out that's, 12%. Well, once they give you a mortgage HELOC or any kind of loan, aren't you able to do whatever you want with it?
Oh yeah. You could pay off that debt at closing, HELOCs. You could just set it up and use it how you want to, home improvements or not. But to your point, that's how I got in the business, was doing debt consolidation and like personal loans, personal finance. And we would show people how to do that. And here's the trick most people don't know, Brad, is if you took all those debts over there, we paid it off, let's say at 7%, but we use that extra payment you're not paying now, and we just kept making the same payment. Yep. You would then start to move that amortization faster, and your effective rate would not be 7. It'd be substantially less.
Yeah. Or take that extra payment and invest it.
That's it. Do both.
Build a business.
All these things.
Buy my book.
That's where most mortgage originators are missing the bigger picture. They're selling rate, they're selling transaction, where we're trying to sell something and help someone. Hey, here's where you are, and this is what you're struggling with. This would solve that.
That's right. You're selling solutions.
That's right.
Not interest rates.
That's right. That's who's winning. So we're going to keep winning with it. This has been awesome. Dude, I'm glad we made this happen.
Sure. Thanks for having me. It's the competitive edge.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully this will be your most valued episode ever in the history of Competitive Edge podcast.
Well, we're going to promote it like it's going to be.
Well, good.
We got
Share it and I'll spin it out.
Share it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, it's been another edition of Competitive Edge podcast. So Brad Lea, again, didn't need an introduction, but you guys, hopefully you go back and listen to that. Man, he dropped some stuff in there as he was going through. I hope you caught the last thing about mindset, skill set, and habits, because it's something he's talked about quite often. I've adopted, and I've looked for where's my mindset, where's my skill set, and what do my habits look like? And so it's a quick way just to self-reflect. Where are you and where do you want to go? As you listen to this, leave us a review. We love those. That helps get the word out to other people. Share it with a friend. That always gets this in the hands of the people. As Brad said earlier, you want to get the right information to the people that need it. That's how you do that with this show. And then make sure you leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5, leave us a little comment in there. That'll help us get the word out to other people. And as always, thank you for spending your time with us. We'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.